my name's Ivana. I'm a marine pilot. So I work on the River Thames, bringing in ships and taking ships out safely from our port. Maritime matters because the most of the imports and exports from the UK, especially, about 95%, come via the sea, via our oceans. So to keep the economy running, it's vitally important, the shipping industry. And shipping and seafarers are a key component of that, and unfortunately, quite an overlooked component of that.
How has COVID-19 affected how you work?
So the biggest impact is actually one of fear. There are a lot of people who are afraid for themselves and for their families. You see that both from the port perspective and from the marine pilots embarking on the ships. We don't know where those ships have come from, or we know their last port of call, but we don't know how long they spent in a port and what interaction they've had and if they have anything. And then there's, from the seafarer's perspective, there's a lot of fear there because they are technically quite isolated at sea, and they are then coming to shore where they know there are cases of COVID-19, and they have to interact with pilots, agents, cargo personnel, and facilities managers. On top of that, everyone is worried about their families. And if they're seafarers, then those families could be very far away. For the personnel who are interacting with the ships, they then go back to their families. So there's that constant risk of self and others, and it's created this sort of environment of fear, which is quite unhelpful in the job. The impact's been quite minimal with regards to bridge interaction at the moment. The PPE is a factor, so the use of gloves and masks, and a lot of different interpretations of how useful they are, so that can be a challenge. Well, for seafarers, I've actually thought quite a lot about this. What you've got is a small group of people who expected to be with each other or in each other's company at sea for a set period of time, be that weeks or months, depending on rotation. Now you've got these individuals essentially stuck together for much longer periods of time, and it is perfectly natural that sometimes personalities don't get on, sometimes personalities clash, and again, often that's driven by a lack of knowledge and sometimes fear, because they are no longer counting down to a time to get off, which inevitably everyone looks forward to. They look forward to getting off at a certain time. So one way to maybe break down any issues that might be on board is really back to the basics, back to communication and just looking out for one another, especially when you've got a lot of people from different cultures or different religious backgrounds on board. There are a lot of religious festivals going on at this time of year, various faiths. If there are more than one of you on board who are able to share your faith, then that would be a really great opportunity for you to get together, so you've got a bit of community there. Keeping fit is another thing you can do on board. If you don't have a gym or anything like that, I have some top tips. So don't forget that a litre of water is a kilogram, and if you've got 2 litre bottles of water, one in each arm, you can start doing some reps. The other things you can do is, if crew members have brought books on board, after several days, you're going to get through your books quite clearly. One of you could create a small library in the rec space so that you can share your books. So those are some of my top tips for how to rub along together when you're stuck at sea. It's really important, not to sit in your cabin on your own, feeling isolated, because you are surrounded by other crew members who are feeling exactly the same.